My opponent doesn't know what he's walking into. After my last fight, I thought it might be time to go pro. We're going pro now. I'd rather get knocked out than run away. Regardless, win, lose, or draw in any fight that I have, I'm gonna keep going and just keep going. What I really enjoy is just being able to give people what they want to see, and people want to see violence.
Biaggio Ali Walsh!
I've luckily been blessed to have the opportunity that I had as an amateur. Most amateurs don't fight on the kind of stage that I've been fighting at, like the PFL, on ESPN, Madison Square Garden. Most amateurs don't really get that kind of experience, and I was lucky enough to have that kind of experience. So after my last fight, I think it might be time to go pro. We're going pro now.
Drive your hips post, drive your hips to the sky, now shuck, boom, yeah, now come up.
This sport has really helped me in many, many ways. It's helped me physically, emotionally, spiritually. The beautiful thing about MMA is there's like this endless void of possibilities that could happen. Somebody who's been in the game for 30 years might see something they've never seen before.
Hips, now shuck, boom, that's what you're looking for, that was your best one. Bump, shuck, here we go.
It's the drive to learn and strive for greatness.
Here, and then think of like pulling and crunching that in. Exactly. Today was just MMA development, mostly working on things like getting back to his feet, where he wants to be, and then things that we can add on, especially as going pro. So putting in some things of control. Stand up. Throwing elbows, and then this is where I can come across and be looking for elbows, and then making people pay if they try to shoot and take them down. Yeah, he's always looking for a finish. I mean, you look at all his fights so far in the PFL, he's finished everybody, and I don't think anything's gonna change going pro.
In the sport of mixed martial arts, in any sport really, listen to Kobe Bryant's story, he'd be shooting hoops at 4 a.m. I want to just consistently learn and stay on that path of learning. Even 20 fights into my pro career, I'm still going to be learning about the sport. Regardless, win, lose, or draw in any fight that I have, I'm going to keep going and just keep going. There we go. No way. Oh.
Why are you shooting? Why don't you look?
I don't know. Because it's career. My brother Nico, he's a professional boxer. He started boxing when he was 15, and it's been very inspiring just to see him stay consistent in his sport and in his craft, and see his hard work and just pay off. As an athlete who wasn't playing football anymore, I didn't know what to do. Watching him and supporting him inspired me to kind of just carve my own path, and MMA kind of just fell into my lap at that point. We always talk about fights, combat, martial arts, etc. So it's nice living with your brother, but also your brother who also fights.
I'm solely boxing. I've never even thought about it, doing MMA. I've been around MMA fighters my whole life.
His first boxing coach is now my striking coach.
Yeah.
Ironically. We didn't really grow up around just a bunch of fighters, My grandfather fought long before I was born, and my aunt was done fighting when I was really, really young. So I think it has something to do with the nature. I think it might be just in our genetics to want to fight.
I've always loved boxing, yeah. I've always loved boxing. And MMA is, of course, its own sport. If I was ever in MMA, I would only want to throw punches, so that would defeat the purpose.
We grew up, watching boxing, so in my fights, I like to freaking stand and bang. I think my grandfather would be so proud of us. He was always very supportive of us, especially because there's a lot of pressure with the name, and there's a lot of haters because of it. So I think he would be proud of us and just how we're handling it as well. Ooh. This is MMA history. I think as a fan of the sport, it's super exciting because it's two major organizations coming together, and it's basically them saying, okay, my champ versus your champ. And that's what the fans want to see. To be able to have my first professional fight on a card like that.
Clean, keep your legs.
It never happens, you know. Usually people's first pro fight is usually not in a huge organization, but you know, I have the opportunity to have my first pro fight in this kind of big event, and
Jab.
I'm excited to just put on a show.
Good hook.
You know, that's the main thing that I really enjoy, is just being able to give people what they want to see, and people want to see violence.
Good, take a rest. Biaggio's an athlete. First and foremost, the kid's athletic. When you run a 4.3 40 in high school, that tells you that you're a little different than the average just guy off the street, right? So I want to use his athleticism to his advantage. There's guys that got to fight like Joe Frazier because they have to fight like Joe Frazier. There's guys that fight like Sugar Ray Leonard because they're given those attributes. I want him to use his attributes, so I think it's starting to come into his own, if you will. He's starting to figure out who he is. Good, out of hook. I'm excited for Biaggio. This is a big moment for him, his family, and this is something that they dreamed of. And to do it here at this event, I mean, it's a dream come true for the family for sure.
My opponent doesn't know what he's walking into. My forward pressure, maybe it's an ego thing, I don't know. You know, I'd rather get knocked out than run away. I think that being able to put on a good fight and a good show, and God willing, a highlight reel, would get, you know, the fans to see a young and potential fighter in me. And that's what I'm hoping to see, and I'm hoping that the fans agree with that. I'm looking to just walk forward and be in your face the entire time.